Hi there, Brian here, and welcome to today's video where I'll be exploring the Long Island iced tea. Now in today's video we'll be looking into the history of the drink, then we'll be making the drink, and then we'll be trying the drink and giving my thoughts on the drink. So without further ado, let's get into the history of the drink. So the first one comes from Long Island in Tennessee during Prohibition in the 1920s. And this was said to be created by a bartender named Old Man Bishop. And his one was very different to the one we've got today. It was still a blend of alcohols all mixed together. But his one included things like whiskey, maple syrup. So it was a much more richer, sweeter version of this cocktail. Not so refreshing like the modern day version. This one didn't have things like triple sec in either, or lemon juice, I do not believe. But still, it was named Long Island iced tea, and it was created during the Prohibition by this bartender, Old Man Bishop. So that's not really disputed, but the modern day Long Island iced tea is very different. So let's get into that one, and that is the next creation story. Okay, so the next creation story is actually the creation of the modern day version of the Long Island iced tea, the one we have today. And that was created by a guy named Robert Rosebud Butt, and he created it in 1972 for a cocktail contest. And his version did include everything we know today, the 5 different spirits, including the triple sec, has the lemon juice and everything. So it is the modern day one. So as I say, 2 different creations, one being the original version, very different, but still it was named a Long Island iced tea. The second being the modern day version, Robert Rosebud Butt's version, which is the one we all know and enjoy today. So those are the 2 histories and origins of this cocktail. Okay, so that's the history. Now let's get into actually building the cocktails. So first we're going to do the built, then we're going to do a shaken. Now the built is the original way I used to do it, what I consider the bartender way, and the shaken is the way that I was taught once I went to my training. So let's get into this and start with the built one. Okay, so let's make a Long Island iced tea. Now first thing we're going to need is glassware. So for that we're going to need a highball glass. We have one with some ice chilling. And for this we're going to be doing the built version, which means it is built in the glass, so we're going to be having to discard that. So we've got a nice chilled glass to start. Now we're going to start adding our alcohol, and this is going to have 5 different base alcohols, well 4 base and a liqueur, and it is 15 ml across the board. So we're going to go 15 ml of our Absolute vodka. Now we're going to go 15 ml of our Blanco Tequila. We've got Altos there. And then 15 ml of our Bacardi. That is White Rum. And then 15 ml of gin, and we've got Hendrick's here. Because Hendrick's is a non-dry gin, so I'm not a fan of dry gin, so I've tried to avoid it. And finally your Cointreau, which is your orange liqueur, and 15 ml of that. So that's all your alcohols added. Now we're going to be wanting to add 30 ml of our lemon juice. Ooh. That's not very juicy. So the other half has got a good bit in. A little under, but that's fine. And now we just want 10 ml of our simple syrup. So that's all the ingredients added. Now we're going to want to add some ice. And a and now we are going to add the Coke top, but we're going to go very gently so we get a layer in. A little bit of a mix there, but we've got a split. Ooh. And then finally we are going to be adding a little bit of let's just add some straws in. And then finally we're going to put a crushed ice cap on top, which that drink completely sucked up straight away, and then just rest. And there we have it, a Long Island iced tea built. Okay, so there we have it, that's the Long Island iced tea. Let's just give it a mix up and then we'll give it a try. But I already know how it's going to taste this way. I've done it this way so many times because before I got trained this was how I'd make them. Now I do it a different way, which we'll be doing in a second. Yeah, it's really good. I do like a Long Island iced tea, but it's not as good as how I do them now. Now I do them shaken because that's how I was taught when I was trained properly. Beforehand, like I say, I'd do it this way, the built. But the shaken is so much nicer. The shaken adds the aeration and elevates it so much more. I didn't realise how much it would elevate it until I actually had it. But anyway, let's get on to making the actual nice shaken version. Okay, so let's make a Long Island iced tea. So first thing you're going to want is glassware, and we've got a highball glass with some ice in there so it just chills a bit. Now you're going to want to take a shaker. So this can be built in the glass, but we are going to be shaking it because it allows the cocktail to add some aeration to the mixture. So let's start adding our alcohol, and for that we're going to be wanting to add 15 milliliters of our white rum. So there we go, we've got 15 milliliters of Bacardi white rum. Now we're going to go 15 ml of our tequila, and we have got some Old Toast Blanco Tequila there. And now we've got our Hendrix, so we're going 15 ml of our Hendrix gin. And we're using Hendrix because it is a regular gin, not dry gin. And now we got some Absolute Vodka, 15 ml of that. And finally 15 ml of our Cointreau. Okay, so now we want to add 10 ml of our simple syrup. And finally 30 ml of our fresh squeezed lime juice. Hopefully I've got enough in here. Just enough. Right, so that is all our ingredients. Now we're going to be wanting to get rid of that ice, and we're going to add some Coke to the glass here, and we want to fill it to about a quarter. Allow it to sit. There we go. because once we add the ice to the glass it will bring that up. So now we're going to add the ice to the glass, and for that one I've got some nice cubed ice here, so we shall get some of that in the glass. Now we're going to want to add ice to our shaker. Right. And shake. And now we are going to single strain over the ice gently to try and get a layered effect. There we go, right up to the top there. So now you're going to want to take your 2 straws, add them in, and then finally add yourself a nice wedge of lime. And there we have it, a Long Island iced tea, shaken. So it looks nice, but how does it taste? So we'll get rid of the garnish and we'll just give it a little stir. Ooh, it's a bit high there. Down a bit, but let's try it. Really good. So I used to do the built version all the time. It wasn't until I went and got trained that I started doing this shaken version. And you do, and it does look nicer because the shaken one gives the alcohol a bit more of a cloudier look when you're pouring and everything. Really nice. And as I say, the shaken you get that aeration and into the alcohol mix, which makes it a lighter cocktail. Yeah, that's really good. I do love a Long Island iced tea. Okay, so that was the Long Island iced tea, both the built and the shaken versions. So, as I said earlier while I was doing them, I do prefer the shaken version myself. Both of them are very nice cocktails, I do enjoy them both, doesn't really matter. As I say, one's like a bartender's version, the other is more the cocktail bartender version. Both very nice, and it is one of my favourites. But, with that being said, this is the end of the video. So thanks for watching this video, and as always, hopefully I'll see you next time. Take care and goodbye.